before the show, it was reported that a second batch of classified documents from when Biden was vice president was discovered in his Wilmington, Delaware residence. Now, the White House says it's cooperating with the National Archives and the DOJ as it conducts its review. But here's what Lindsey Graham says. He wants to see Merrick Garland do next. What?
Garland, if you're listening, if you thought it was necessary, Attorney General, to appoint a special counsel regarding President Trump, then you need to do the exact same thing regarding President Biden when it comes to handling classified information.
Lindsey!
Whoopee! Guess what, folks? There's a lot more in store here because we've got so much, and this is what's on tap for today. Part 2 of the continuing saga of Joe Biden and the classified documents that he should or he shouldn't have. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, let me tell you something, folks. Brandon, our president, our senile, dementiated president, that's right, senile, dementiated president, is a gift that keeps on giving. He gives it to us in his gaffes. He gives it to us in his speeches. He gives it to us in his mannerisms. He gives it to us in his incompetency. And now he's giving it to us in terms of, I guess what was good for the goose is good for the gander. Is that what they're basically saying? Folks, we're going to get into all that. My reaction to the cackling hens at the rear view. The verbal diarrhea continues to cackle from these hens each and every single day. But before we get into that, I want to welcome you to the Dr. Nasir Sheikh Show. I'm going to be your guest host for today. My name is Dr. Sheikh, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, like, share, and follow this video. Let's get to the view, or as I like to call it, the rear view.
You're comparing apples to oranges. Let's find out what they discover first, and then do whatever needs to be done. Because if you recall,
Yes, we recall that was never done during Trump, you idiotic moron. Is that what you did when these things were found at Mar-a-Lago? And listen to one thing here, guys. Listen here. Whoopee! The president is allowed to take whatever freaking documents he wants. He's the president or ex-president. He's the only one that can declassify information. A vice president can't. A president can do whatever the hell he wants with the documents. If he wants to take them home and say they're declassified, hey, they're declassified. End of story. Period.
Former you-know-who was asked, can you give us the pieces of information that we need? He said, okay, and then didn't do it. They said, well, where's the stuff? He said, I don't have it. We gave you everything we had. Yeah. Then they said, listen, we know you got more stuff. Give it to us. We're going to send a subpoena for you. He said, on a subpoena.
Yeah,
okay?
Good for him.
That's why they raided his house. Now, if we all know, you're right, this needs to be investigated. But it is not the same. I'm sorry.
But it is being investigated. But why?
Yes.
The AG appointed John Lausch, a Trump appointee, to
Maybe they
review
missed that.
how the classified material ended up in Biden's home and former office. So when they keep calling for this, they're creating this optic that it's not being looked into.
Yeah.
And that is being looked into. And I do see the difference in the sense that when you look at a character like...
When you see the difference, you're another one of these simpletons. You're a cackling hen. I have to mansplain everything to you, woman, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Plain and simple. You're an idiot. That's all I can say. And the verbal diarrhea that emanates from you, and that's going to emanate from you, is going to be absolute BS.
Former President Trump, and then you look at President Biden, anyone with any amount of brain cells knows these are not completely equivalent purely because the volume.
You don't have any brain cells, honey. Your brain cells have nothing to do with brains, have nothing to do with cells. It's just an empty bowl of mush that is beneath those blonde locks. All right? Don't tell me about brain cells when all this verbal diarrhea that's emanating from your mouth makes absolutely no freaking sense whatsoever.
The obstruction, the refusal. They had to storm the Golden Castle to get it. This is a little different than
Golden
coming
Castle?
forward.
Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, they literally had to present them. But I still have
Well, he
a
has a
problem
golden
with
toilet
any
seat.
confidential
That's
stuff
what I was going
being.
to say.
Yes.
I actually don't see a big difference between Donald Trump having those documents and Biden having those documents. Neither should have the documents.
Right.
But let's not forget that the special counsel was also appointed to look into the 4 criminal referrals, including insurrection and being a traitor.
It was a bigger job.
In addition to the documents. But what's striking to me...
Shouldn't we wait to find out what they are?
Well, how many documents...
Sonny here, Assumption, shouldn't we look into the fact that you're another one of those idiotic morons that just continues to cackle with the verbal diarrhea emanating from your mouth as well? You appropriate culture, you appropriate names, you don't even use your own real name. Come on now, Sonny. You have no idea what you're talking about. And besides that, you are bigoted, you're racist, and frankly, you're an idiot.
Yes, what the documents are, what type of classification.
Yes.
But just let me say this part. It just seems to me that I don't understand why there is not a special process or procedure
Like
in
how it keeps
place
happening.
for these documents. I remember, and I was nowhere near these types of top secret documents that even you were near, but when I was in front of a grand jury and we had grand jury rule 6E, you put somebody in front of that grand jury and they testify against a mafia head, and you leave those transcripts in the building, because if you take those transcripts out of that building and you take them home and somebody gets a hold of those documents, they will kill that witness. It is your responsibility to keep them secret. And I took that very seriously. And I was a low-level federal prosecutor.
Whose
How can you be-
responsibility? Say whose responsibility?
It was my responsibility to return those to the locked box from which I found them. I don't understand how a vice president or
Anybody.
a president would not know that
Well, you know
they
what?
do know.
Look, just real quick, listen, the facts are unequivocally different in the Trump and the Biden case. That is a fact. Trump obstruction is the biggest issue, that he didn't willingly and voluntarily hand over these documents.
There's no obstruction, you idiotic moron. He's the freaking president of the United States. He can declassify those documents. How many times do we have to tell you? God, you guys have no brains whatsoever. No wonder they put you there on television. You continue to cackle the verbal diarrhea that emanates again from your lips, and you're supposed to be the conservative on the panel, for crying out loud. You're just another freaking rhino.
Here's the problem
Didn't he
in my
steal
mind.
them also?
He took them with him, but Biden's, they found these in his garage in Wilmington,
Yeah.
and he just laughed it
Why
off
would he
and
have
said,
them in his garage? That's like me having exercise equipment in my garage. It's not going to happen.
But it's
Why is it in
actually,
his garage?
but real quick,
but he shouldn't have taken them in the first
But
place.
just real quick,
the
Donald Trump's
garage?
whole argument in his defense hinges on former presidents have mishandled classified documents, and as a former president, I have the right to declassify documents. Now, I disagree with both of those, but Joe Biden is building.
That's too bad if you disagree with them. It's the law, and it's exactly what can happen. Just because you disagree with it doesn't mean a darn thing, honey. Do we have to continue to mansplain to you all the time? What is this? Is this Ricky Ricardo here to explain to Lucille Ball all the time? Oh my goodness. I've said it this so many times before. If we added up the IQ of these 5 ladies, the number would be negative.
His defense for him. Like, I hate to say it, this is much harder
You know
to
what I
argue
think?
against
I've never
Trump.
seen a luckier person than Donald Trump. Just as we're this close to getting him,
But you know what?
somehow these documents appear.
But here's the thing: Biden is wrong to have done this. He was in office
Well,
for 40
let's
years.
let's find out what this is first. Now, again, one of the things that gets me crazy is before we know, it's already been.
What I want to do right now is cut to the video that they were talking about. They found this in Biden's garage. So let's cut to that video and show you. I mean, folks, you've got to see this to believe it. So we're going to cut to that right now.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. So I'm excited about it.
Here he is, backing up his Corvette in Delaware into his garage, where basically this is where, folks, all right, those secret classified documents were. As vice president, which he has absolutely no business having. So, okay, you might say that some things were mispacked and they were sent to, a building someplace where he was supposed to go and his new offices were there. Okay, all right. How the heck do you get classified, sensitive, top secret documents in your garage? They're in your Corvette. They were probably okay in the trunk of the Corvette. And then his answer to everybody is to sort of laugh it off and say, well, the garage door's locked. I locked the doors to my Corvette. That's his answer? This is the same guy that came on 60 Minutes and was basically blaming Trump and saying he didn't understand how somebody could be that irresponsible? Look in the mirror, Brandon. Look in the freaking mirror. You senile, dementiated old fool. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Anyways, let's cut back to the rear view.
Spun a specific way. I don't want to see that. I want to see someone explain to me, A, how it's possible that after all this time, nobody knew this? Because to me, if you're missing classified information, I don't mean to laugh, but in my house, if stuff is missing, I know it's missing.
Does it feel like Oppo research to you? Does it feel like the Republicans are behind it?
It's not.
It did originally.
Uh-oh. Right-wing conspiracy theory. A right-wing conspiracy theory. Straight out of the Hillary Clinton playbook.
But I'm sorry, but not now, because one of the things he's saying is that some of the locations where the docs may have been shipped in the transition may have gotten taken and put, but still how come the people who signed the documents out to them
I don't
didn't
think
say
that though.
But somebody has to.
But if you send a classified email in the White House or you're interacting, it's not always coming from one place.
Not necessarily, but here's the problem: is Trump is going to argue, I didn't bring these, staff packed the boxes.
Yeah.
Because that's what Biden is now saying.
Well, then it may be true. It may be true, but his problem is that he lied about it.
The obstruction.
He lied about it.
That's
and
right.
I think when there is something top secret that needs to go out, somebody knows it's going.
They should.
Somebody knows.
Or the
and
system
somebody should have said, hey, y'all, there's stuff missing.
They better get those processes in line
Yeah.
immediately, because
Yeah.
we had them at the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is the Justice Department,
Right.
which means they need them.
Anyways, folks, this is just, again, we're going to find more and more locations. It's going to come out. There's going to be more documents found. It's going to be the White House saying, we didn't know about it. We didn't pack it. It was mispacked. It was mishandled. Staffers did it. And as I said so many times before, the vice president cannot declassify information. And they knew about this thing back in September, back in October, prior to the midterms, and they didn't want to release it because they were afraid of the midterms. Attorney Merrick Garland has so much to answer for. He needs to recuse himself. He needs to answer the questions before the Congress and basically, what did you know and when did you know it? Because damn it, he didn't release this information because he thought it was going to affect the election, and that is not his damn decision to do. That's the problem with these guys up in Washington, D.C. right now. They think they own that place. They don't. We do. The people do. And these guys continue to basically skirt the law, do whatever the hell they please. But somebody else makes a misstep, somebody else does something, we got to go after that guy. And folks, that's the reason why we need to have Washington, the cesspool, the toilet bowl, the swamp. It needs to be drained, folks. It needs to be drained. It needs to be completely, cleaned up, folks. It has to be. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Sheikh Show. I've been your guest host for today, Dr. Sheikh. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and follow us. Hit that notification bell, and I'll leave you with my final and parting thoughts, as I always do, which is when you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.